Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Political Ray. We've got some stories that came out over the weekend. Not too much. It was a bit of a slow weekend, but we've got a few things. Namely, just Bernie Sanders and AOC are making their little tour. The Fight Oligarchy tour, as Bernie has phrased it. There's some rumors and whatnot swirling around that, and we'll get into that a little bit. We've also got the IRS and ICE working together to maybe find some illegals that are, on the welfare programs. And we've also got the opening of Snow White, which tanked. Not to my surprise, it made more than I thought it would, but we'll get into that too. But first, we're going to talk about Bernie Sanders and AOC. Now, like I said, a little bit of a slow weekend, but we've got a few things to talk about. But AOC and Bernie Sanders, they have been making their little tour. AOC joined Bernie on this tour, and now there's been rumors swirling around that there may be an AOC Bernie Sanders 2028 ticket for the presidency. It could be interesting. I don't see them doing that, but that's the rumors going around. And we'll get into some of the talking points that they have and whatnot too. So we'll get into this. This is just, like I said, they're making their rounds. They've been in Arizona a couple times. They were in Vegas, a couple other spots, but we'll just check this out. This is them. Like I said, they're making their rounds. People are calling now for an AOC Bernie Sanders 2028 ticket. Now, I don't see it going anywhere, but I could be wrong. I mean, I don't think that ticket would be necessarily strong, but we'll see. I mean, 2028 is still a while out, and who knows? Anything could happen. I think Gavin Newsom's going to make a run. Maybe AOC will, but there's rumors about her, trying to make a run for the Senate seat, for Chuck Schumer's seat. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see. You never know. Anyway, this is them making their. I think this was after one of the rallies, but look at this. They're applauding. I think this was after the rally. I think. Anyway, there's that. Get rid of that. Look, I'm just going to go over a couple of the talking points here. Now, they've got some talking points, and it's pretty much, I mean, it's Bernie to a T. Okay, it's the same talking points he's had for years and years and years. This guy, he's got no new stuff to campaign on. It's all the same stuff that he's been campaigning on for years now. But anyway, let's take a look at some of the talking points that him and AOC are getting into, and I'll give you my feedback on it. Y'all can let me know what you think about it. But like I said, it's just regurgitated talking points over and over again. But we'll see. Let's see.
Healthcare is a human right.
Healthcare, donors, billionaire. He switched from millionaires to billionaires because he himself is a billionaire now. He's got 3 homes, for crying out loud. But he switched it to billionaires paying their fair share, not millionaires, because he doesn't want to be lumped in with them, even though he is. Guy's got 3 different houses. I don't know what houses they are. I don't know if they're mansions. I don't know if they're small houses. I don't know. I'd imagine they're fairly big, though. All the donations that he's been receiving from Big Pharma and everything else, I would imagine that the houses that he has, they're not small by any means. But I could be wrong. I haven't seen his houses. But anyway.
Colleges and universities should be tuition free.
Free healthcare. Free college. It's the same Democratic talking points. It's just the same thing regurgitated over and over again. Free stuff for the people. But where does the money for that free stuff come from? The money's got to come from somewhere. Where does it comes from? The American taxpayers. Middle class in this country gets royally screwed at every turn. We pay taxes on every time a dollar is exchanged. We get taxed on it. Why? Because they keep pushing crap like this. You want free school? You want free health care? Well, we're going to be taxed out the yang for it. That money's got to come from somewhere. You can't just give something away for nothing. People, and I don't understand how people don't see that. I just don't. Anyway.
We have got to make sure that every woman in this country can control her own body. They got the money, we got the people.
But we're not going to win a game on.
Who's got the money, Bernie? This is something that the left has been saying a lot lately, that the Republicans have all the money. Okay, we've got now granted, I'll give you Elon Musk being within the Republican Party at this point, because he was ostracized by the left, and for one, everybody praised him on the left for making the EVs, because the whole EV mandate, they wanted to go green. They didn't want gas powered vehicles anymore. They wanted the EVs. Elon was a pioneer in that. He bought up Tesla, and he was pioneering the electric vehicles. They praised him for it. Now they all hate him just because he's, part of President Trump's, administration, as it were. He's not officially, but he is. He's the head of Doge, and it's not like he's making cuts himself, but he makes recommendations to President Trump. Because he's within that administration, they now hate the guy. Simple as that. It's all these Democrats that bought up Teslas, and now they're destroying them simply because he's within the president's administration. It's ridiculous, and we're going to keep going with this.
Defense alone. We know that, right? We need a strong offense. And our offense is an ambitious vision for the future of America. It's Medicare for all is our offense.
Free stuff.
A living wage is our offense. Tuition-free public colleges and universities are our offense.
Free stuff.
And that means that we have to support a new and different movement of elected officials who believe in these principles too.
Healthcare.
Again, like I said, free stuff. It's the same talking points. It's not gonna surprise me. These two come out and they start talking about the wealthy paying their fair share. But this is the other thing I say to that: the wealthy paying their fair share. Who is the majority of the wealthy? Soros. I understand he's not in America, but you've got all these wealthy individuals. Who do they donate to primarily? To the Democrats. And it's a talking point that they've had forever. The wealthy need to pay their fair share. And I ask you this. They've used this same talking point for years now, since as far back as I can remember. And they haven't done anything. They've been in power. The Democrats have been in power. They could have changed it. Because they don't plan to. They have, if this talking point was something that they strongly and firmly believed in, they actually believed in this, then why would you have the majority of billionaires within this country donating to the Democrats? Because it's not something that they're actually going to do. It's a talking point. And I'm sure behind closed doors, they're telling all these billionaires, oh, we're not going to really do that. It's just a talking point that the American people approve of because they think that that's something that should be fair. I don't. I think that people should be able to keep the majority of their wealth. I don't think that we should be taxed every time a dollar is exchanged. That's just my opinion. That's how I feel about it. I don't want my money going away to the federal government, being spent on wasteful and stupid crap, especially overseas. Anyway, okay. So I wanted to show this. This is these Democrats. They talk about, oh well, Canada has free health care. Canada this, Canada that. Canada healthcare is trash. For one, they can do it because they tax the crap out of their citizens, and for two, the United States subsidize a lot of money towards Canada. That's why they can do it. They don't even pay for they don't even have a quarter of the military that we do. That's why they can get away with free health care. But just to show you exactly how garbage the Canadian healthcare system is, take a look at this. Now, I have fast forwarded this just a little bit, just because, there was a couple curse words that I didn't want to put up. But anyway, take a look at this. You can let me know what you think. But this, pretty much in a nutshell, is the Canadian health system. Check it out.
And go ahead, guess what it is. Go ahead, guess.
Now, she has, the doctors have a suspicion that she has a tumor and she needs an MRI. and she's talking about when they actually scheduled the MRI. So, just a little backstory on it, just because like I said, I fast forwarded it.
Yes. It's in 2026. 2026. My MRI to see if I have a brain tumor is in 2026. It's March 2025 right now. And if you thought this was bad, it's actually worse than you thought, because the appointment where we decided that I need this MRI was in December of last year. So it's not like it's 10 months from now, it's 13 months. It's a 13-month wait to see if I have a brain tumor. At first, I just thought this was a mistake because having an MRI every year is like a monitoring timeline. Like, I already have an MRI every year for my spine tumor, which is why we think maybe I have a brain tumor too. So I was like, okay, they just made a mistake and scheduled this on a monitoring timeline. But no, I called and the clinic was like, yeah, the doctor actually requested that you have it earlier, but this is the next spot we have. We're seeing about 13 months for these brain and spine MRIs. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Canada, where healthcare is free, but only if you can afford to wait.
There you go. I mean, like I said, the Canadian healthcare system is not all it's cracked up to be. Sure, you got free healthcare, but at what cost? What happens to this girl if she really does have a brain tumor and it spreads within that year? They're never going to know because she can't get in there for an MRI. In the United States, yeah, we got to pay for healthcare. But you also have the opportunity to have an MRI the next day. Call me crazy, but I'd rather have an MRI the next day if I have a threat of a brain tumor. Call me crazy, but I think our healthcare is probably a little bit better. Anyway, now the Bernie Sanders crowd, they're talking about he's been coming out saying that he's drawing huge crowds, and he's never seen crowds this big. Well, for one, President Trump's had 100K plus crowds at his rallies, and Bernie's they're saying anywhere from 20 to 34,000 ish is what I've been reading. But according to some people, the rumors been flying around that it may not actually be that much people, and that they actually might have been paid to be there. But take a look at this. This is wild. This has just been, this is something that's circulating on X. I can't say if it's true, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was. GPS data exposes astroturfing at Denver Bernie AOC rally. This massive Bernie Sanders and AOC rally in Denver, turns out it wasn't a grassroots as advertised. Despite claims of 34,000 attendees, GPS data analysis reveals the number was closer to 20,000. Still big. Yes, it is. It's still a big crowd, but not record-breaking. And I'll give credit where credit's due. If you got 20,000 people at one of your rallies, that's pretty impressive. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. Anyway, over 30% have attended 20 or more. You got 30% of the people that were actually at this rally in Denver. Now, these are just claims. Again, I don't know this for a fact. I haven't seen anything actually saying that it is an actual fact. This is just what's been circulating around the World Wide Webs. Data analysis says the crowd was anything but organic. The majority were tied to activists networks like Disruption Project, Indivisible, Democratic Socialists of America, Rise and Resist, and Troublemakers, all reportedly funded by Act Blue, and some receiving backing via USAID. Optics over authenticity. The playbook hasn't changed, just the targets. Look, if you're paying a lot of people to come, of course, look, people aren't going to turn down money just to come and stand in a crowd. It's just the simple fact of the matter. If you're paying people to be there, they'll show up. It's a lot of all the rumors flying around about all these organized protests and vandalism and everything else on Tesla. It's the same thing. If you pay people to be there, more than likely they're going to show up. It's pretty much free money just to stand around. They got pre-printed signs, everything else. Again, this is just hearsay. It's just rumors flying around on X, but it makes me think that maybe it could be true. It wouldn't surprise me. I wouldn't put it past them to do something like this. Again, wouldn't surprise me. Maybe it is organic. I can't see that it is. I could be wrong. But these rumors flying around, it wouldn't surprise me if it's not. Anyway, We'll go ahead and move on to the IRS and ICE. Now, this is interesting to me, and it might be interesting to others as well. I think it's pretty interesting. This is from the Pulse Millennial. IRS moves to make deal with ICE to locate illegal immigrants through addresses on tax forms. This is interesting. I'm all for it. Again, I voted for the deportation of all these illegal immigrants that came into this country during the President Biden's administration. This is what I voted for. This was one of the huge things that President Trump ran on. It's one of the major reasons why I voted for him. It's one of the major reasons why a lot of people voted for him. When you've got an influx, and we don't even know the real number, anywhere from 10 million to 20 or 30 million, we don't know the exact number. I think the official number is somewhere around 15 million that came in during the Biden administration. But who knows for sure how many people actually came in here? I mean, the official number is just what we know about. Who knows who else come over here that we didn't catch or didn't know about? That kind of thing. But anyway, this is an interesting story to me. The IRS is preparing to collaborate with Immigration and Customs Enforcement to help locate illegal immigrants facing deportation by using taxpayer information. According to the report by the New York Times, a draft agreement between the IRS and ICE indicates that the tax agency would verify whether immigration authorities have the correct home address for individuals ordered to leave the country. Many illegal immigrants file tax returns with the IRS, providing the agency with details about their addresses, families, employers, and earnings. I'm okay with it. Like I said, I'm fine. IRS officials have previously resisted requests from the Department of Homeland Security to share this information, citing concerns that it could violate federal laws protecting the confidentiality of personal tax data. Disclosing such information without proper authorization carries legal penalties. I'm okay with this again. However, following the Trump administration's decision to replace the IRS's top lawyer, discussions about cooperation have resumed on a narrow scale. Let's see. The current proposal reportedly focuses on confirming information ICE has already obtained rather than sharing broad tax records. Again, I'm okay with the IRS saying, "Hey, here's some people that may be illegal. You can go check it out. Go see." I'm fine with it. Under certain conditions, federal law allows tax information to be shared with law enforcement agencies. The Washington Post, which reviewed portions of the draft agreement, reported that ICE would only confirm addresses of known illegal immigrants who have already been ordered to leave the U.S. Requests would be submitted by Homeland Security, Secretary Kristi Noem, or Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons, and would include the individual's name, address, and date of removal order. Now, like I said, I'm okay with this. They've already come out and said, the Trump administration, Tom Homan, Kristi Noem, they've all come out and they've said, look, if you're here illegally, self-deport, and then you've still got a chance if you want to come back to this country legally, if you self-deport, you've got a good chance of being able to come back to this country. It's as simple as that. If you get removed forcefully, you probably won't get back. I'm fine with that policy. You came here illegally, self-deport yourself, and then if you want to come back, do it the legal way. If you don't want to leave and you get caught, you're not going to come back, period. I'm fine with that too. Let's see. Previously attempted, blah, 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 blah. I think that's pretty much it. I'm okay with this policy. I'm okay with the IRS helping out DHS and ICE and everything else. I'm fine with it. Anyway, we'll go ahead and move on to Snow White. Now, this is fun. It's fun for me, anyway. Snow White. Now, it did make some pretty good money over the weekend. It had its opening weekend this last weekend, and it did make some money. Not a lot. It made more than I thought it would. I'll leave it at that. But it's still pretty much, it tanked for how much it cost to make the movie and everything else. It's still pretty much just tanked, and we all know why. There's different reasons, and the main star in the movie, we all know she anyway. We'll take a look at this from CNN. Get rid of that. Snow White box office more sleepy than happy. I like the headline. I saw the headline and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna use that just because I like the headline. But anyway, let's see. Rachel Ziegler. We all know why people aren't watching this movie. One, because it is woke and people are tired of that crap. The second reason, and a big reason for it, is because of the main actress. She is not a nice person. She downgraded the original movie, and which is a classic, and was, you know, a big giant leap forward as far as animated movies for Disney. It was a huge undertaking, and it was a big film, and it's a major film for the franchise. But anyway, Disney's Snow White big budget live action retelling of the classic fairy tale opened to a sleepy 43 million at the domestic box office this weekend amid a slew of controversies. Now, just to be clear, now this article from CNN says it costs around 270 million to make this movie, which is roughly accurate. There's different people saying different costs, but after you take into after you take in like, advertising costs and everything else, it's probably closer to over 300 million after advertising and everything else. They had to push the I mean, they finished filming this movie in, I think it was July of 22. And then they had to push it back because they didn't have dwarves in the movie. They had the seven companions or whatever it was. So they had to push it back for that. They pushed it back also because of some comments from Rachel Ziegler, and this movie's I don't expect it to do a whole lot more, and I expect this to be on Disney Plus streaming within a month. Just my opinion, but I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. They're gonna they're gonna get awful numbers at the theaters, and it's just going to go straight to streaming. That's what I think. Anyway, let's see what else we got here. Excuse me. It costs around 270 million to make. Would take in 48 to 58 million in its first weekend, despite falling short of the expectations. Snow White surpassed Focus Features Black Bag, 4.4 million. Disney's Captain America Brave New World, 4.1 million. Well, Brave New World's already been out for what, a couple weeks now? Of course it's going to surpass that. Anyway, that's a stupid comparison. It's a Disney film. It settles in. There's not going to be a lot of family competition, said David A. Gross, who runs movie consultancy franchise RE. This weekend is the locomotive that pushes the train. It's not going to do much more. Opening weekend is usually where movies make the most money. It's raking in. I've seen reports of 43 million. That's what I've been seeing. They said, I think that didn't take into effect any of the later evening shows on Sunday night. But like I said, I've seen all kinds of stuff, empty theaters and everything, what have you. I don't think that this movie is going to do much more. Could it make it up to 100 million? Sure, it probably will. Is it going to make more than that? I doubt it. I could be wrong, but I don't see this movie making more than 100 million in the theaters. I just don't. Maybe they'll make a little bit more money once it drops on, onto disc. People are already paying for the Disney Plus for the streaming. Anyway, that's another thing. Rachel Ziegler came out and said that she needs to be paying for every hour that this movie is being streamed. She needs to be paid. She wants to be paid. She's just a ridiculous person. Anyway, I'm not gonna read the rest of this. I want to show you a couple things else on here about Snow White, just because it's fun for me. Now, people are. I've been seeing this go around. People are actually just buying snacks, or I've seen a couple of instances where people are actually just going to the movie theater and buying snacks from the theater, but not actually buying tickets for the Snow White movie. And then they go home. This person actually on X said that they just popped in the VHS at home and watched it with their kids, the original one. So, I mean, you've got this. People are not wanting to watch this movie, and people actually enjoy the original. And Rachel Ziegler has criticized it and said it was dated and blah 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 blah. But this makes my heart happy seeing people actually just, buying their own snacks, and then they sit down in front of the TV with their kids and they watch the original. Makes me happy because it is a good movie. You can say what you want, but Disney used to make good stuff. Used to. Anyway, I want to show you this too. This is an empty theater. This is one I picked this one because it doesn't actually show the movie playing. I didn't want to get in trouble for, showing a movie that's actually in the theater. But anyway, this one doesn't show the movie, but it just shows empty seats everywhere. Take a look at this. This is just, and I saw these all over X. People going to the movies, watching this movie, and there's just seats everywhere. Take a look.
Rome. Want to join the vibe and excitement of the streets of London?
Hey, what?
3 of the most beautiful cities in Europe and the city of Rome.
The commercial looks like it's in Europe, and it did do internationally. It made, I think it was 89 million internationally, but domestically it only got up to 43 million. Like I said, will it make 100 million? Sure, I'm sure it will. Will it make 200 million? I don't think so. As I said, I could be wrong. Probably not, though. Like I said, the opening weekend usually is where these movies make the bulk of their money. So, not for me. I mean, if I actually go to a movie, I'm going to wait until a week or two or so later, just because I don't like packed theaters. But that's just me. I don't see this movie doing very well. Like I said, it's pretty much flopped on the opening weekend, and I think it's just going to continue that. I could be wrong, but this thing is not going to break 200 million. It's not going to recoup what it cost to make this movie. Think about it again, just real quick. $300 million plus. After you take into effect, how much it costs to make the movie. You got production costs, then you got advertisement costs. It's probably over $300 million. This movie's not gonna make that number. It's not gonna break even. This is gonna be another loss for Disney, and it's fine. They've been losing money on these movies because they keep doing woke stuff, and they just don't. They're not learning from their mistakes. But anyway, I wanted to show you this. This is Michael Knowles, and this is what he had to say about the movie. He actually did watch it, so let's see what he said.
Snow White is the first American feature-length animated movie, 1937. It's one of the most beloved movies of all time. Mm-hmm. Even if Disney had not fallen prey to wokeness and nonsense in recent years, even if Disney still had the most talented people in the world working with the best writers, with a good sense of narrative and the cultural moment, even if everything worked perfectly, it would have been almost impossible for this movie to succeed because you're comparing it to one of the most beloved films of all time. I
actually don't agree with Michael on this. I think if they would have stayed true to the actual story of Snow White, instead of implementing their woke crap within this movie, I think it would have done well. That's just what I think. I think it would have done fine. It probably wouldn't have made much more than it cost to make the movie, but I think it would have done a lot better than what it's doing now if they stayed true to the actual story. That's just my opinion. This Michael Knowles and I differ on this opinion. But that's fine. Anyway.
Truly groundbreaking movie. And Disney was not sending its best. I sat through the whole thing. I don't want to say it was the worst movie I've ever seen. It wasn't. But every way that the movie changed the story from the original, the 1937 movie, or even from the original Grimm Brothers fairy tale, every way that Disney changed the story, it changed it for the worse. This was really bad. It was extremely leftist on every political dimension: racial politics, sexual politics, class politics, regime politics. Its narrative was cowardly. It was just awful.
Well, there you go. That's Michael Knowles' take on it. Like I said, I disagree with the whole, if they would have kept the original story intact, they could have changed a couple things, and I'm fine with that. But if they kept the original story intact from Snow White, I think it would have done fine. It probably would have had a net positive, and they would have done fine with it. But they had to go woke, and now it's going to be a loss for them. That's all there is to it. You can let me know what you think, but as far as Disney making a good movie, I just don't think they can do it anymore. They're so far up their butt with politics and everything else and political correctness that they just will not make a good movie anymore. That's just my opinion. I mean, the MCU is starting to go downhill. You got all these woke remakes of, old animated movies that are being made into live actions, and a lot of them aren't doing well. A couple of them have. I can't remember which one. I think The Lion King did fairly well. I think Aladdin did very well. I wasn't a fan of Aladdin. I actually did watch that one. I wasn't a fan of it. Um, they Until they stop this stuff, they're just gonna keep digging themselves in a deeper hole. And you got the fact that Rachel Ziegler, they won't even let her speak anymore because every time she opens her mouth, it's just negative press for the company. So they won't even let her talk anymore. They canceled the red carpet premiere in the UK simply because of the fact that they didn't want her talking. And this movie is flopping. It's going to flop. I don't see them making any kind of net positive on this movie at all. It's going to be a loss for Disney, and until they change their ways, this is just going to keep happening. Anyway, that's all I got for today. If you appreciate, I appreciate you hanging out through my rants. If you did like what you saw, hit the follow button on Rumble. You can hit the like button too. Follow me you can subscribe on YouTube if you want to, but I just go to Rumble. Rumble's where it's happening now. You got the lineup every day, weekdays, Monday through Friday, from 9 a.m. all the way to 5 in the evening. You got the Rumble lineup: Steven Crowder, Tim Pool, Jeremy from the Quartering. Go to Rumble. Check it out. You can also follow me on X at @ThePoliticalRay. And again, I appreciate you hanging out. Y'all have a great day, and God bless. Take care of each other.